Hello and a very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Let's begin as always with the latest headlines this morning. Government says it's determined to see passage of the land ordinance and 5 other ordinances likely to be tabled today. Controversial start to the PDP-BJP government in Jammu and Kashmir. Opposition parties criticized Mufti Mohammad Saeed's remarks, crediting Pakistan and militants for ensuring peaceful elections. Aam Aadmi Party wrestles with internal dissensions, rejects centre's choices of Chief Secretary for Delhi. Prime Minister addresses IT industry, flags cybersecurity concerns and seeks path-breaking ideas to build innovative technology solutions. And tributes pour in for slain Russian opposition leader Boris Nemtsov in Moscow. Nemtsov's allies call it a political killing linked to President Putin. Well, Parliamentary Affairs Minister Venkaiah Naidu has reasserted the government's resolve to see the passage of the land ordinance in the Parliament. The ordinance will be taken up along with 5 others in the Parliament tomorrow. Venkaiah Naidu said that the NDA government is open to considering meaningful suggestions from opposition on the matter. He said that the bill will greatly benefit the farmers and the government is committed for their welfare. The government claims that it is going the extra mile and not declining the compensation for farmers but enhancing it 4 times.
Parliament will be taking up the 6 ordinances to convert them into bills in the coming days. And as far as the land acquisition ordinance is concerned, the government is committed to this ordinance. But if any meaningful suggestions come, definitely they will be considered, and we are there to protect the interests of the farmers.
Well, joining me for a chat this morning to talk about the ordinances and the bills, of course, that are likely to be brought into Parliament this week and the next 2 weeks as well is the editorial consultant of the DNA, Parsa Venkateshwar Rao. Good morning, Parsa. You know, an interesting 3 weeks ahead of us because the government is going to try and move 6 of these crucial bills that have been pending for a while now and, try to convert these ordinances into bills. So it's going to be an exciting period, isn't it?
Tough period for the government because the ordinances have to be converted to bills in this session because there is no time left. Otherwise, the ordinances lapse and they have to wait till the session is over before they can reissue the ordinance, and that is not a very nice way of doing business as such. So they have to work very hard and reach out to the opposition. I think on the land ordinance, the government appears to be quite firm that they want to push it through because they think it is linked to the kick-starting of the economy, to the clearance of the infrastructure projects. So they would want to go it through. So perhaps to push land ordinance, they might resort to the joint session. So you're saying is that the only way forward for the land ordinance, a joint sitting? And because I think the government has to prioritize as to which bill they would want to push through and let the others be as such and compromise with the. I think at the moment, I think there are back channel talks and willing to sort of make concessions and win over the smaller parties. But that is still not out in the open, and it will not be till the last minute as to what are the compromises that are made. But until then, the approach of the government becomes problematic. Should they take a principled, rhetorical, hardline stance saying that what we are doing is right and what we are doing is necessary for the economy and that we are not going to budge while talking on a more conciliatory note in the back channel talks? And will that help? I mean, this will really test the skills of the government in managing the opposition.
Indeed. April 5th is when most of these ordinances lapse. So the government has time till then. But let's not forget that the session continues only till the 20th of March before we go into recess. So time is, of essence here. Yeah, and the government is definitely going to try and work out a formula. But the problem really is, the problem is not in the Lok Sabha, is it? The problem is in the Rajya Sabha where the government is in a minority.
What they have to do is they may have to win over some of the smaller parties and they may have to choose whom they would want to win over. You know, the way the Congress planned it out when it
Yes.
was in power, it's politics as usual, that win over Samajwadi Party to an extent, try and win over, though it looks unlikely, the TMC, because the Communist parties will not budge.
Yes.
The Congress would not like to be seen budging, though it is open, and I think it has got an open mind on all these ordinances, because it understands that these are things that have to be gone through, except the land ordinance. And land ordinance also, if the government makes enough tweaking of the provisions, I think it will go through. As a matter of fact, the Congress position is that they are not so much opposed to the bills as such as the ordinance route the government has taken. I mean, of course, coming from the Congress, which has been resorting to ordinances itself, it might look hypocritical, but then that is politics. So they are objecting to the government resorting to ordinances and not waiting for the session to happen and go through the thing. So the government might have to sort of make a statement saying it was this is not the ordinary way which this government will function, and that they will come to the house and push through the bills, and ordinance is not the routine thing that they will path on which they will go on. So these are kinds of compromises, back and forth talks, and also hardening of stances for rhetorical purposes, because the government cannot be seen to be sort of cowering before the opposition, and the opposition, because it does not have the numbers, it cannot be seen yielding to every request or demand of the government. So it's a very, it's almost to use that very cliched word, gridlock. You can't get out of it.
Yes.
But all the parties are aware that some of these things are necessary for going ahead, and they'll have to make compromises. And I think that's where the practical sense will prevail. The compromises will be made, but not without causing anxiety to the government.
You know, there will be some give and take to try and break
Give and take, I think they may say, we'll let this government will go ahead with the land ordinance on through the joint session route, and on the other things, the opposition will say, we will not let this one go through, but we will let the other one go through. So they will. It's a mixed bag.
You know, there are some crucial bills that are to be brought, of course, but the land acquisition bill has already been introduced into the Lok Sabha last week. There's the coal bill. There's
I think coal bill is quite essential, because otherwise the auctions will not go ahead, and also they need to sort of start the mining thing going on. So that's very crucial, as a matter of fact.
Then there's the insurance bill. There's the insurance amendment bill, citizenship amendment bill, the motor vehicles act, and there are several of these bills, of
true.
course.
Citizenship and the motor vehicles act, perhaps it's more or less not so contentious as the land ordinance bill. The coal auction, land ordinance, and the insurance are the key policy oriented bills. So that will evoke a lot of discussion, resistance, and before it finally plays out. And might be the case that out of the three, one will go through and the two may have to hang fire, sort of thing.
Okay, so where do you think that the government is going to have the most trouble, or which bill is going to be the most problematic as far as the government is concerned?
I think all of the bills will be problematic, but the land ordinance will be the key issue, and the government is sort of convinced that it has to go through the land ordinance bill, because otherwise things will not move. So it will make, I think it will make some changes in the amended bill as well, in a bit to accommodate and mollify the farmers' concerns, because the party itself agrees that it's a perception problem, that it is seen as anti-farmer, and the BJP is arguing no, it is not anti-farmer. So they have to prove the credentials that it is not anti-farmer. And how do they do it? They may have to make some changes on the paper to show, look, that we are willing to accommodate the concerns.
All right, we'll have to leave to that. Thank you so much, Pastor Venkateshwar Rao, for joining us this morning and putting things into perspective for us as far as those bills are concerned. Moving on now, of course, the new PDP-BJP coalition government in Jammu and Kashmir took oath yesterday, an indication of the tough task for the two ruling partners ordinance came immediately afterwards, with both opposition parties and the media criticizing Chief Minister Mufti Mohammad Saeed for crediting people from across the border for the smooth conduct of Jammu and Kashmir Assembly elections. Here's more.
Honorable Governor.
A controversial start for the new Jammu and Kashmir government. The new Chief Minister Mufti Mohammad Saeed's remarks on the role of Pakistan in enabling peaceful elections in the state triggered immediate protests from rival parties.
जो जम्मू कश्मीर में अब की बार असेंबली चुनाव हुए, उनके भी एसेट्स हैं, हुर्रियत है और मिलिटेंट है। खुदा न खास्ता अगर वो इसको कुछ करते, कुछ ऐसा काम करते, इतना चुनाव नहीं होता, लोगों का पार्टिसिपेशन नहीं होता। हमें प्राइड है, गौरव है, फख्र है इस बात का, श्रीनगर शहर में जो दिल है, जैसे जम्मू शहर जम्मू का दिल है, वो दिल हमारे सामने आया, वहां के लोगों ने भी पार्टिसिपेट किया। उसमें मुझे लगता है पार के लोगों ने भी एटमॉस्फेयर को कंड्यूसिव बनने दिया। दैट इज माय हम्बल सबमिशन कि नहीं हो सकता था अगर वो कर लेते कुछ।
Coalition partner BJP, however, reacted with caution and refused to be drawn into the controversy.
We want to credit success of these elections to the people of Jammu and Kashmir and to the leadership of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, who had worked hard to ensure that the state gets a popularly elected government. We want to thank the security forces, the election commission and the people at large.
The Congress said Saeed's assessment was misplaced and that it was victory for Indian democracy.
The entire credit must go to the people of Jammu and Kashmir state and then Election Commission of India and to Indian democracy. It was a great victory for Indian democracy. So therefore, I think Mufti Sahab should have taken care and not said this kind of thing.
The incident indicated the tough road ahead for the two coalition partners in the state who have to work together despite their differing ideologies. Their decision to work jointly came after 2 months of complex negotiations that rivals call a conspiracy against their mandate.
ये एक बहुत बड़ी सोची समझी साजिश है जिसको पीडीपी ने हिंदुस्तान के राष्ट्रीय हित के खिलाफ इस्तेमाल किया है और अब मैं चाहता हूं मोदी जी जवाब दें।
मैं समझता हूं कि जो सरकार में उनके साथ जा रहे हैं वो इसके बारे में समीक्षा करते हुए आगे बढ़ते जाएंगे, कुछ कमियां होगी तो ठीक करने की कोशिश वो करेंगे।
The BJP has 25 MLAs in the 87-member assembly, while the PDP has 28. Chief Minister Mufti Saeed heads a 25-member cabinet represented equally by both parties. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
Well, soon after taking oath, the new Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister offered a glimpse of the coalition government's stand on key issues. The BJP and the PDP had diametrically opposite views on many issues, and the Common Minimum Programme is an effort to bridge the divide.
Talks have been on between the two sides for the last 2 months. They have evolved a common minimum program looking to build a bridge on contentious issues, which is to work as a roadmap for governing the state.
हमने एक दूसरे की जो सेंसिटिविटीज हैं, जो स्टैंड है, उसको रिस्पेक्ट करते हुए जिस प्रकार का मैंडेट है, हमने उस प्रकार का जो है कॉमन मिनिमम प्रोग्राम बनाया है और सरकार अच्छी चलाने का संकल्प लिया है।
The two parties held a joint press conference later in the day to release the common minimum program. Here are the highlights. On the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, the coalition will thoroughly review the security situation in the state to examine the need and desirability of all the special laws being applied. On Article 370, the present position will be maintained on all the constitutional provisions including special status. Another contentious issue is dialogue with the separatists. The coalition is to facilitate and initiate sustained dialogue with all internal stakeholders irrespective of their ideological views and leanings. On the peace process with Pakistan, the coalition government will be empowered to catalyze reconciliation and confidence building within and across the line of control, thereby ensuring peace in the state. Then the refugees from West Pakistan, the government will take measures for their sustenance and livelihood. A one-time settlement will be worked out for refugees from POK. The new Jammu and Kashmir cabinet will meet for the first time on Monday. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
Well, it's time for a short break now, but up next on the program, we'll tell you all about the rains that have lashed North India. Unseasonal rains have made life difficult for the common man in North India. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Tradition dating back centuries. A cultural heritage that inspires and warms at once. Magic that awes. Rajya Sabha television brings you events that embrace the wonders of India's classical arts. Conversations with the biggest names in the culture and music. Rajya Sabha television, democracy at work.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, the Delhi government and the centre reportedly disagreed over the choice of Chief Secretary for Delhi. While the Aam Aadmi Party government insisted on RS Negi for the post, the Home Ministry ruled him out on grounds that he was too junior. There are reports now that KK Sharma, the present Chief Secretary of Goa, could be chosen for the post. Meanwhile, the Aam Aadmi Party is also grappling with internal dissensions, with senior leaders Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan offering to quit from the party's Political Affairs Committee. Here's more.
The Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi has rejected the Union Home Ministry's panel of 3 senior IS officials for the next Chief Secretary's post. In a letter to the Home Ministry, the Delhi government said the centre shouldn't impose any officer and respect its choice of RS Negi for the post. Negi is a 1984 batch officer who is currently serving as Chief Secretary of Arunachal Pradesh. The Home Ministry has rejected the recommendation, stating that Negi was too junior and doesn't fall in the prescribed pay grade of 80,000 rupees per month for the post. Meanwhile, the Aam Aadmi Party itself is grappling with internal dissensions. In a scathing comment, the party's internal Lokpal says the top leadership divided into 2 camps due to an abject breakdown in communication and mutual trust. It named 2 members of its all-powerful Political Affairs Committee, Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan, in this connection.
हमारे बारे में कोई अच्छी खबर चले न चले, हमारे मतभेद की खबर बहुत अच्छे से चलती है, तो चलिए किसी बहाने खबर तो चलती है।
नहीं तो हम लोग के 3 लोगों के साथ इनफॉर्मल मीटिंग थी।
The party's Lokpal, Admiral Ramdas, is a former Navy chief. His letter was written ahead of the Aam Aadmi Party's national executive meet last week. The letter recommended that criticism of inner party democracy had to be dealt by an independent group that carries out an internal audit. Reports said that party chief Arvind Kejriwal had tendered his resignation as the party's national convener at the national executive meet, but the move was opposed by members.
उस टाइम पे जो पार्टी को डैमेज किया है, तो पार्टी नेचुरली उनके खिलाफ एक्शन तो लेगी, ये तो उनको उसी टाइम सोच लेना चाहिए था। तो अब ये सेंट्रल जो लीडरशिप है, ये इस बात का फैसला कर रही है।
Kejriwal was upset after a section of party leaders raised the issue of him playing the dual role of Delhi Chief Minister and the party's convener. Kejriwal is believed to have demanded more freedom to run the party. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, a day after the government presented its first full budget, the Prime Minister attended the Silver Jubilee celebrations of Software Services Association body NASSCOM with Communications Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad by his side. The two commended the work of the country's software industry in leaving a lasting imprint on global markets.
Policy framework.
An event celebrating 25 glorious years of the National Association of Software and Services Companies, NASSCOM. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Communications and Information Technology Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad and Jayant Sinha, Minister of State for Finance, were present at the function commending NASSCOM's journey. Prime Minister Modi said the industrial body has been monumental in transforming India's image globally and empowering the Indian people.
NASSCOM के इस नेटवर्क के माध्यम से लाखों नौजवानों को रोजगार मिला, उनको अवसर मिले, देश की इकोनॉमी को लाभ हुआ, भारत को आधुनिक बनाने की दिशा में कुछ कदम हम भी चले, लेकिन इन सब से भी अलग एक बात जो मुझे हमेशा लगती है कि इस आईटी के कारण पूरी दुनिया को भारत की तरफ देखने का रवैया बदलना पड़ा.
Prasad also recalled the massive hurdles that NASSCOM has overcome to portray the Indian market in a competitive and qualitative light to the world. He said the body has highlighted the country's intellectual and entrepreneurial skills outstandingly.
Can you Indian give a quality product? Can you Indian give a product in time? Can you Indian compete? These three were the recurring walls you had to face everywhere in the world. But today when we reflect, when we introspect, we see not only you conquered, but from that process emerged certain new icons of India who are deeply respected and have become a role model.
NASSCOM Chairman R. Chandrasekharan, Infosys founder N.R. Narayan Murthy and Wipro Chairman Azim Premji were among the other top industrialists present. NASSCOM will also host a discussion with Ravi Shankar Prasad and Jayant Sinha talking to industry leaders on the Union Budget 2015 and the opportunities for the Indian IT BPO industry. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Well, let's now take a look at what's lined up for today in our segment, The Day Ahead. Today is the second day of Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar's SAARC Yatra. He will arrive in Bangladesh later this morning and will be received by his counterpart Shahidul Haq at the airport. Jaishankar is slated to meet Bangladesh Foreign Minister Abul Hassan Mahmood Ali in the afternoon to discuss bilateral relations between the neighbours. He will also meet Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in the evening. Former Telecom Minister Dayanidhi Maran, his brother Kalanidhi Maran and 6 others are likely to appear as accused before a special 2G court in connection with the Aircel Maxis deal case. They were summoned on the 29th of October last year on the basis of the CBI charge sheet filed against them. The CBI has also named Malaysian business tycoon T. Anandakrishnan in the case. Bangladesh's main opposition party BNP will continue its nationwide shutdown today. The new Band call is to step up its nearly 2-month-old tirade against the government demanding fresh polls under a non-party administration. It's likely to continue till Wednesday. The Bangladesh Nationalist Party-led 20-party alliance has been staging shutdown since the 6th of January to mark the first anniversary of the controversial polls that was won by its arch-rival Awami League. Well, North India experienced showers for the second day since Sunday. National capital Delhi witnessed moderate to heavy rains in many parts of the city. Strong winds brought down temperatures considerably. The city received 17.2 mm of rain on Sunday, while maximum temperature was recorded at 19 degrees Celsius, 8 notches below normal, and minimum was at 15.2 degrees Celsius, 3 above normal. In other regions of the country, rain swept the higher reaches of Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh. Both experienced snowfall as mercury plunged significantly in several places. The weatherman attributed the rains to a series of weather systems, including a fresh western disturbance in the hilly states of Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh, and cyclonic circulation in Haryana, Rajasthan and adjoining areas. Another system is affecting Gujarat and adjoining areas of Rajasthan. For all the other national news and updates, let's take you nationwide. Current ambassador to France, Arun Singh, will replace S. Jaishankar as India's top envoy to the US. A 1979 batch IFS officer, Singh has earlier served as Joint Secretary in charge of Pakistan, Iran and Afghanistan divisions in the MEA, apart from postings in Japan and Israel. He has also served as Deputy Chief of Mission in Washington for nearly 5 years. Swine flu toll crossed 1,000. Swine flu claimed 34 more lives in the last 24 hours, even as the nationwide death toll from the H1N1 virus reached 1,075. The number of those affected is at 19,972. Gujarat is the worst affected state with 265 casualties and more than 4,300 people affected, while in Rajasthan 261 people have fallen prey to the H1N1 virus. Leadership changes in the Congress is likely to make leadership changes in many states, including a shake-up in the AICC. The changes are likely to be announced on Tuesday. The reshuffle could see new PCC chiefs in many states. Party General Secretary Ajay Makan may replace TPCC Chief Arvinder Singh Lovely, while former Union Minister Bharat Singh Solanki is tipped to be named Chief of the party's Gujarat wing, replacing Arjun Modwadia. Moving on to some international news now. Massive crowds turned out in Moscow on Sunday for a march in honor of slain Kremlin critic Boris Nemtsov. The opposition politician was supposed to appear at a Sunday rally protesting Russia's role in the fighting in Ukraine. The rally was converted into a memorial march after Nemtsov was gunned down late on Friday on a street just steps from the Kremlin. Here's a detailed report.
Tens of thousands of people marching in streets of Moscow to honor opposition politician Boris Nemtsov, who was shot dead on Friday. His supporters at the bridge near the Kremlin, the spot where the former deputy prime minister was gunned down.
And of course it's absolutely preposterous that a politician is being killed, an opposition politician is being killed in the center of the city next to the Kremlin. I mean, this is something absolutely unbearable and impossible.
Investigations are on into the killing that President Vladimir Putin has promised to take under personal control. Putin condemned Nemtsov's murder as vile and cynical. However, Nemtsov's allies have called it a political killing linked to his opposition to Putin and the Ukraine conflict.
Действительно, власть тут никаким образом, то власть сама заинтересована в скорейшем, эффективнейшем, быстрейшем расследовании, нахождении виновных, установлении исполнителей, организаторов и привлечении их к суду. Тогда мы с вами будем знать, что действительно власть в этом отношении не имеет никакого отношения к этому убийству.
UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon condemned the murder. Nemtsov's killing came a few hours after a radio interview in which he called upon Moscow residents to join the opposition's protest rally on Sunday and criticized what he called Putin's aggressive and deadly policy of war against Ukraine. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Let's now take a look at some more international news and updates in our World Wrap. The Secretary of State John Kerry reached Geneva last night on a 3-day visit for tough talks on Iran and Ukraine. He is also supposed to ask Moscow's foreign minister to ensure a credible investigation into the killing of opposition leader Boris Nemtsov. Meanwhile, he will also step up the pace of nuclear talks with Iran's top diplomat Mohammad Javad Zarif. Britain's Prince William tours the tsunami-hit Japanese city of Ishinomaki and rang the bell of hope in Onagawa on the last stop of his Japan visit. He also paid respects to those lost in the 2011 earthquake and tsunami. Nearly 19,000 people died in the March 2011 earthquake and tsunami, and about 22,000 people lost their homes. At least 2 people were killed and 6 others were wounded late on Sunday when a bomb exploded in the southern city of Aswan. According to sources, the blast took place outside the Nasr Mosque in Egypt. Security personnel have cordoned off the blast site. Those injured were immediately rushed to the hospital. 19 of an estimated 220 members of an Assyrian Christian community kidnapped by Islamic State were released. According to reports, the releases were made in exchange for a sum of money. The kidnappings took place shortly before dawn on the 23rd of February when IS militants swept in about 12 villages. Global concern mounted over a CCTV video that purportedly shows 3 British schoolgirls on their way to joining the Islamic State terrorists. The girls boarded a bus in Istanbul's Esenler district on the 18th of February. They are believed to have crossed into Syria to join the terror group. The girls are identified as London teenagers, 15-year-olds Amira Abbas and Shamima Begum and 16-year-old Khadiza Sultana. And for all the sports news, here's the latest sports beat. Former BCCI President and Secretary Jagmohan Dalmia is all set to return as BCCI's new chief. Dalmia was the only candidate in the BCCI chief elections. Dalmia had temporarily run the BCCI's day-to-day affairs in 2013 when N. Srinivasan stepped aside after the IPL spot fixing and betting scandal. Dalmia's position will be ratified by the board at its annual general meeting in Chennai today. Rafael Nadal defeated Juan Monaco 6-4, 6-1 to claim his first title since last year's French Open at Argentina Open final. It was Nadal's 46th title on clay, keeping him 3 titles away from the record set by Argentine Guillermo Vilas when he played in the 1970s and early 80s. Pakistan finally opened their account in the Cricket World Cup as they laboured to a narrow 20-run win over a spirited Zimbabwe in a Pool B match. Opting to bat, Pakistan scored 235 for 7 in their 50 overs before bowling out the African nation for 215 in 49.4 overs at the Gabba, keeping a slim hope of qualifying for the quarterfinals. That's it on this edition of the Breakfast News. Have a nice day.